The silence in the apartment was a hollow ache. It was a silence that had not existed for the 5 years since Luna, a scruffy terrier mix with ears that flopped at mismatched angles, had bounded into Alara's life. Now, the space where her happy, clumsy gallops and high-pitched yips used to be was just a void. It had been 3 days since Alara had come home to an open gate and an empty yard, a frantic search turning up nothing but cold pavement and the cruel indifference of a busy street. Alara had plastered the neighborhood with flyers, each one a testament to her desperation. Missing dog, Luna, emblazoned over a photo of a smiling Luna, her tongue lolling out during a hike on their favorite trail. She had posted on every local social media group, her pleas for help becoming more frantic with each passing hour. The comments were a mix of well wishes, spurious sightings, and the occasional heartbreaking story of a similar loss, each one a pinprick of despair. She scrolled through her phone, past videos of Luna chasing her own tail, her happy barks echoing from the screen, and photos of the two of them curled up on the couch, a silent testament to the deep, unconditional love that had defined her life. This wasn't just a pet. Luna was her confidant, her shadow, the one constant in a life that had otherwise been filled with more than its share of instability. The first week was a blur of sleepless nights and caffeine-fueled patrols, her car a rolling monument to her grief. Every dog she saw from a distance sent a jolt of hope through her, only to be followed by the crushing weight of disappointment. The second week brought a new kind of pain, the slow, insidious creep of resignation. The flyers, once bright and hopeful, now felt like relics of a past life. Hope, once a roaring fire, had dwindled to a fragile ember. Alara found herself leaving the back door ajar, a small, irrational act of faith, as if Luna might just wander back in, a little thinner, a little dirtier, but otherwise whole. It was on the 18th day, a Tuesday, that the impossible happened. She was sitting in the gloom of her living room, a mug of cold tea forgotten on the table, when a sudden, familiar scratching sound came from the back door. Her heart, a dormant thing for weeks, lurched into a gallop. It was a sound she knew intimately, the rhythmic tap of Luna's nails against the wood. Alara flew to the door, flinging it open. And there she was, Luna. She stood in the doorway, a little thin, her fur matted, but her tail was a blur of ecstatic motion. She was home. A wave of pure, unfiltered joy washed over Alara, a tidal surge of relief so powerful it brought tears to her eyes. She fell to her knees, wrapping her arms around the dog, burying her face in the dusty fur. Luna, in turn, licked her face with a frantic, uncoordinated enthusiasm. After a long moment of sobbing and hugging, Alara noticed it. Tucked into the collar, where a tag with her phone number usually hung, was a small, neatly folded piece of paper. The relief and happiness that had consumed her a moment ago were instantly replaced by a cold, prickling unease. She carefully unclipped the note, her fingers trembling. As she unfolded the paper, her eyes scanned the unsettling, cryptic words written in a precise, almost elegant script. The air in the doorway, once filled with the sweet scent of reunion, now felt charged with a strange and chilling energy. The world outside the doorway seemed to fade into a muffled buzz. The only things that existed were Alara, Luna, and the small, folded square of paper now clutched in her hand. With Luna safely back inside, drinking water from her bowl with a familiar, slurping gratitude, Alara sank onto the worn sofa. She smoothed out the creases of the note, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. The paper was thick, almost like cardstock, with a faint, earthy smell. The handwriting was a precise, almost calligraphic script, each letter formed with an elegant flourish. The message, however, was anything but elegant. The shadow knows your name, but not your face. It watches from the edge of the light. Its hunger is not for you, but for what you protect. Stay in the sun. Alara read the words again, her mind struggling to make sense of the jarring prose. It wasn't a ransom note. It wasn't a prank. It felt personal, yet strangely detached. A cold knot of fear twisted in her stomach. What did it mean? The shadow? Was this some kind of sick joke, a game played by a twisted stranger? Or was it a genuine warning? She immediately called her best friend, Maya, her voice a frantic whisper as she read the note aloud. Maya, a pragmatist by nature, initially suggested it was a cruel joke, a strange way for someone to return the dog. But as Alara described the paper's texture and the unsettlingly perfect handwriting, Maya's tone shifted. That's not right, Alara. That's too much effort for a joke. It's creepy. Did Luna seem okay? Anything different about her? That question led Alara to a closer inspection. Luna, now curled up on the rug, was the same dog she'd lost, yet something was subtly off. She was quieter than usual, her typically boisterous energy replaced by a cautious stillness. When Alara moved near the window, Luna would subtly shift, staying a few feet back, as if a line had been drawn that she couldn't cross. It was a detail so small, so easy to dismiss, but now, paired with the note's warning to stay in the sun, it felt heavy with meaning. Over the next few hours, Alara meticulously documented every detail. She took high-resolution photos of the note, sharing them in a private forum for cryptic puzzle solvers and true crime enthusiasts, her post cloaked in anonymity. The replies were a dizzying mix of theories: a stalker, a cult, a deranged neighbor. A few suggested it was a word puzzle, a coded message. One response, from a user named Oracle, was the most insightful and the most chilling. The script is a modern take on a historical cipher, the Kabbalist cipher. It's not about the words themselves, but what they represent symbolically. Shadow is a classic symbol for a hidden threat, something unseen. Light represents safety, public places. And the last line, what you protect, the dog. A shiver ran down Alara's spine. It clicked into place with horrifying clarity. This wasn't a warning about her. It was a warning about Luna. Someone had been watching them. Someone had taken Luna not out of malice, but to send a message. The note wasn't just a strange trinket. It was a declaration. The person who had her dog was a protector, not a predator. But from what? And why? The realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. Someone had seen a threat she couldn't, and they had taken Luna to keep her safe. A strange, terrifying act of protection that had just been returned with a warning. The relief of getting Luna back was now completely overshadowed by a chilling sense of vulnerability. She was no longer just a woman who had lost her dog. She was a target, and Luna was the bait. The revelation hit Alara like a physical blow. The relief of Luna's return evaporated completely, replaced by a cold dread that clung to her like a shroud. She wasn't just a dog owner who had experienced a miracle. She was now a character in a story she hadn't written, a target in a game she didn't understand. The note, once a bizarre curiosity, now felt like a living thing, its cryptic words whispering a sinister truth. She looked at Luna, who was sleeping peacefully, and a fresh wave of panic washed over her. Someone had been close enough to her home to abduct her dog, watch her frantic search, and then return the animal with a chilling message. They knew about the deep bond between them. They knew Luna was the key to getting her attention. Her first instinct was to call the police. She dialed the non-emergency line, her voice trembling as she recounted the story. The officer on the other end was patient, but his tone was polite and dismissive. So, someone returned your lost dog, Ms. Alara, and left a note with some poetry, he asked, a hint of skepticism in his voice. She tried to explain the Kabbalist cipher theory, Luna's odd behavior, and the eerie feeling of being watched, but it was useless. Without a tangible threat or a clear crime, there was nothing they could do. The world, it seemed, was not ready for her particular brand of fear. Left to her own devices, Alara's world shrank. Her once carefree routines became meticulous exercises in security. She installed new deadbolts, motion-activated lights, and a camera system that sent alerts to her phone. She changed her walking route with Luna, avoiding the quiet, tree-lined paths they had once loved. Every car that slowed down on her street made her heart jump. Every shadow in her periphery felt like a pair of eyes. The simple act of taking out the trash became a high-stakes mission, a quick glance over her shoulder a nervous reflex. Her trust in her quiet, suburban community, once a given, was now shattered. Who among her neighbors could be the shadow? Or worse, the mysterious protector? The anonymous sender of the note had acted as her guardian, but from whom, and for how long? The weeks that followed were a testament to her new reality. The note was tucked away in a lockbox, a constant, silent reminder. She found herself subconsciously analyzing everything. A misplaced garden gnome at her neighbor's house, a new van parked down the street, a bird feeder that had gone empty for days. Each detail became a potential clue, a piece of a puzzle she couldn't solve. The joy of having Luna back was a constant, shimmering thing, but it was now laced with a bitter aftertaste of fear. Her life was no longer her own. It was defined by the unknown. One evening, as she sat on her couch watching Luna chase a laser pointer down, her phone buzzed with an alert from her new security system. A figure had been detected in her backyard. Alara's breath hitched. She checked the live feed, her fingers shaking. The footage showed a tall, shadowy figure walking to her fence and placing something on the post. Then, just as quickly, they vanished. After a long moment, she crept outside and found a single, small stone on the fence post. Just a simple, ordinary stone, but placed in the same, precise way one would leave a mark. The air was still, the street silent. Was it a coincidence? A message? Or something more? The questions, like the shadows, lingered, waiting for an answer she wasn't sure she wanted to find. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel and enjoy these other amazing stories.